How honest are you? Ask yourself this. How honest are you? Do you consider yourself to be an honest person? And let's break this down between are you honest in how you show up for others? Are you honest in how you communicate with others? And what about with yourself? Are you honest with yourself? Join me today for another episode of the Conscious Coffee Break, Clarity Sessions for Yoga Teachers, where we'll dive deeper into this topic of honesty with ourselves. Hey, thanks for joining me for another episode. We're here to practice presence, purpose, and the occasional mug flex. I'm Jennifer Sack, your guide today. And I'm a seasoned yogi, and I love helping other instructors come into their highest alignment and most authentic selves on and off the mat. And that's exactly what I'm here to do today as we talk about being honest with ourselves. In a previous episode, I dove right into making sure that we're not tolerating things that no longer suit us. And that requires a ton of honesty with ourselves. And that's something that we could spitball and keep going with off of the old topic of what are we tolerating. But I really want you to take a moment to ask yourself what it is that you're not being honest with yourself about. Or maybe deep down you kind of know it about yourself, something that's misaligned, but you're ignoring it. And there's many reasons that we do this. We're kind of on the rat race of life. Life is fast paced for many of us. There's a million and one ways to stay distracted. So there's no real sort of drive or time sensitiveness to healing ourselves, to moving beyond these patterns, to coming into alignment. It really just takes either one of two things, I would say, a sheer desire to grow and move into more peace, which takes work because we're not really wired that way, and society does not contribute to that, contributes to keeping us distracted. Or you come to this route of really addressing the things in your life via getting really fed up or having something catastrophic happen to either your health or some sort of situation in your life, maybe a relationship that falls apart, a work situation that goes awry. So we usually either have something happen that forces us into sort of reassessing situations, being honest with ourselves, or we're just truly one of those that is on that spiritual journey, that is really on that path going, you know what? I feel off here. I'm not willing to continue in this way. I want to get down to the bottom of this and I want to be aligned. I want to feel good. I want to be able to show up as myself. That is being honest with yourself. Okay, show up honestly. In order to show up honest for others in our environment, in our communication, leading classes, whatever it is, we have to be honest with ourselves first. It always starts with ourselves. And there's many things we like to sweep under the rugs, little monsters, little things that we know are less than savory aspects of ourselves. And we will always have some of those. I have always loved Ram Dass's quote on knowing that you can never really eradicate all of these like weird aspects of yourself because we do have an ego, but that it's important to just become a connoisseur of your neuroses, he calls it. So even if you just bring the light of awareness, shed some light onto your neuroses, onto the weirdo things that you do, self-sabotaging things you do, that is a starting point and that is a place that is honest. Doesn't mean you always eradicate and change everything right away. Maybe you never do. But if you are on that path to wanting to realign and reassess, it takes some honest introspection. You need to know where you are misaligned. And that really comes from knowing what your values are. You need to understand what's important to you and what you kind of hold everything up against as a placement, as a judge of whether or not this does align with you or it does not. Now, judgment and criticism gets a lot of flack. And I say no, I say judgment and sort of, I don't want to say criticism, but what is the proper way to say this? We'll just go with the word judgment. It is even comparison sometimes, as long as we're not deflating ourselves and making ourselves lesser than anything. Comparison, contrasting, looking at the dichotomy of things, having a judgment call, these are all really good things. And, this is something that I learned from Jordan Peterson. One of his great books goes into, I think it's the 12 Rules for Life, read it years ago. And it really goes into how there's such like a bad rap for judging people or things. And really it's such a human component that to try and take it out of us is like futile. You're going to do it. But to rather embrace it and understand it, it's really what you do with that judgment that makes it either a positive or negative thing. So, what I mean by that is judgment is positive in the fact that it lets you know where you stand in reference to something else, in the way someone's behaving, if that aligns with you or not. You know where you stand, like, I don't want to be like that. So you avoid being like that. Now, does that mean you lash out at that person? No. Does that mean you have boundaries and let them know what you will and won't tolerate? Sure. But judgment in and of itself or contrasting yourself to others is not inherently bad. It's a great way to understand yourself, to be honest with yourself about what feels right for you and what just simply doesn't. And then you can move forward from there. So I invite you to take some time and think about this. Maybe you have always been a people pleaser or always been the nice one, and maybe you've felt guilty for judging before. I want you to sort of embrace that and use it as a tool to understand what suits you without taking it to that negative space where now you are making someone lesser than you or making yourself lesser than someone else. Consider everything neutral. It's just like a flavor. Like, do I prefer the taste of that vegetable versus this one? Doesn't mean that vegetable, it means nothing about that vegetable. It means nothing. It's all neutral. They're all vegetables. It's just a personal preference. What are your preferences? And the funny thing is, many of us have been too busy, too stressed out, too overwhelmed, too distracted, too caught up in people pleasing, too much of taking in external stimuli and external advice that we have lost touch with what it is that we prefer, what we like, where we stand. We've lost it so much to the point that sometimes you'll ask somebody and they can't even answer it. It's like, well, and then a lot of times they'll default to what has just been the automated, well, I've always done it this way. I've always liked this. But do you still? Just because you always did something a certain way, but just because you always wore something, hung with a certain crowd, you always, did a certain thing or practiced a certain whatever it is, doesn't always mean it's going to fit. We are evolving, we're ever changing. So there's no reason to stick yourself into a mold and say, well, this is what I am and how I am and what I do. So even in those times when you are choosing what your preferences are, when you're really picking up on that, I want you to also be malleable with it. Like, know that, yeah, maybe that's right now, but it's not always, and it's not never. It's like currently, I feel this way about that. Currently, I align with this. Currently, I do not. Right now, that resonates with me. Tomorrow, it might not. That doesn't make you fickle. What it means is that you don't go on autopilot. It means that you are present because you're always tuning into whether or not something is aligning with you. Okay, so you don't stick to it forever. You don't go, okay, well, this is it. And then that's you forever. All right. You're never stuck in one mode, in one belief, in one thought pattern, in one way of speaking, wearing, I mean, whatever it is, the things that you do, that's all you if you're staying in that and just doing it and repeating it out of sheer habit. When you wake up, when you become present, each moment becomes a choice. Now you're actually participating in the activity of life rather than just running through the drill of it. Okay, so this is my homework for you, my friends. I want you to become really present, really aware in all the moments of the day. Am I doing this because I'm choosing to, because I want to? Or is this just an automated habit? How long have I been doing this without even thinking about it? And when it comes to your health and well-being, please pay extra attention to the things that are causing you stress, that you just perpetuate. Be very honest with yourself. What do you do that perpetuates the stress in your life? Do you procrastinate? Do you people please? What else is it? Do you stay up too late at night when you know you shouldn't? Do you self-sabotage? Do you overeat when you know you shouldn't? Are you too strict in your diet? Are you punishing yourself? What are you doing that's causing you stress? You need to be super honest and aware with yourself and start to shine the light, become that connoisseur of your neuroses so that you can show up to life awake by choice and moving into greater alignment all the time. You're always towing the line because the second you get into alignment, something will happen. Something will shift. The energy in your space, your situation, those around you, your beliefs, your thought patterns might change on something. So you're never like there and good forever. I think that's sort of like a misconception like, well, when this happens, I'll get there and I'll be perfect and everything will be amazing. Think about it about being in alignment as just towing the line. You're always sort of just noticing right when you're swaying away, you shroop it right back in and you go the other way and you bring it right back in. So it's this sort of like sustained balance that comes from just always noticing when you're coming out of balance, out of alignment, not resonating, feeling any form of clinging or resistance. And then you pull yourself right back in, right back into that center. But you got to start practicing that center or you don't know where that's at. You don't know the line you're towing. So the more you can practice coming into alignment, the more you can question everything so that you know what your alignment is, the greater you're going to get at this practice of staying there in that space. And that is my hope for you, my friends. So thanks for joining me if you've made it this long. If you're looking for more resources, I have plenty. Oh my gosh, look in the description. I know y'all know how to find links. Okay. I have a really great one too called Align Your Life with Your Teachings. It's a free PDF, 3 steps for you to check point your life and make sure you're showing up in alignment with what you're teaching so that you're embodied in your presence. Okay. We're not Zen imposters. We're not out there faking it. We are being our true selves all the time. All right. And this is no judgment, no shame. This is just a self assessment, self check. Okay. So I want you to take a moment, take a deep breath or two, relax, close your eyes. And I want you to ask yourself, if I'm honest, what do I need to change? All right. Just ask yourself that. See what comes up. It might take a few times asking. All right, my friends. Until next time, I wish you more peace. Bye bye.